Hey, David Wygant, 10-minute daily reality check. Yeah, there's music in the background, there's the sound of the ocean, and there's healing going on in the air. Question is, are you healing? I had an aha moment today, and I wanted to share the aha moment with all of you because every single day I'm trying to show you or to let you grow into a new reality. And that's really why we're here on this planet. We're here to grow into a new reality every single day. And how do you do that? You surrender. I had this aha moment. I'll introduce you to a guest in a minute, but I had this beautiful aha moment of surrendering to my life. You see, I'll give you a little bit of background here. 2016, I went to a spiritual advisor. The spiritual advisor told me to go find God. I thought that meant finding a way to make more money or be an entrepreneur like I am, because he told me that I was channeling God through all my speeches. I channeled God through what I'm doing right now, but I never gave him thanks. So I thought if I gave God thanks, he'd just pay me my next big clump of money that I was going to make. I tried to meditate on that, and I realized that wasn't it. So I started going deeper into the spiritual journey. I met a guy, Mike Childress. Mike, thumbs up to you, man. I'm going to send you this podcast so you can listen to it. We sat on a plane ride to Chicago. Once again, another energetic meeting of two minds. You got bumped out of business class. Someone else next to me who had mediocre energy got bumped into business class. And you and I had a great 5-hour conversation on the way to Chicago, where you told me to design my own God. Now, that made the most amount of sense because I thought God had a bikini at that point. She was cute, she was hot, she had a great little body, great little ass, and the bikini looked fantastic, so I designed my own God. No, that wasn't it. That wasn't it at all. I thought it was it because I was having great fantasies about me and God, because really, if you think about it, when you make love to yourself, right? So I was basically having a good time in my mind, fucking myself. But then again, you don't really want to fuck God because you want God on your side. So I learned another lesson. I've got this issue going on with my ex and my daughter, and it's a battle for no reason at all. There's no reason for it all except for the lesson that I need to learn. And what is the lesson that I needed to learn? Well, I read this book about a year and a half ago called The Surrender Experiment, Michael Singer. It's a book that I strongly recommend all of you to read. Michael Singer is a kick-ass, probably multi-millionaire. And all he wanted to do is sit in this $5,000 building that he built in Florida and meditate all day long. But he surrendered to whatever life presented. I read a book called The Celestine Prophecy about 25 years ago. It was all about surrendering. I've met wonderful people like Wayne Dyer and a lot of leaders in the world. I've met Tony Robbins and sat with him for an hour because everybody was afraid to talk to him, and I walked right over there and sat down and had lunch with him. And they all gave me the same message: to fucking surrender. I went and I did acupuncture, and I got facials, and I get a massage once a week, and I get a foot massage 3 times a week, and I float in flotation devices. Why? Because I got to calm my nervous system down enough to surrender, because the last time I surrendered in my life was when my mom was going 65 miles an hour into a parked car, a broken down car on the Cross Bronx Expressway, and I surrendered to that moment. And since that moment, I've been fight and flight. My mom decided at that moment to try to kill me and myself and her in that car. So surrendering was a really scary thing. I wasn't able to surrender. I didn't know how to surrender. I didn't even know what surrendering meant. Surrendering to me was this scary fucking thing, because if I surrendered and let go, then all of a sudden, okay, I would be this vulnerable little boy all over again. Even when it came down to sex, my mom's friends taught me about sex when I was a teenager. Let a woman come first. Make her come. Make her come. Make her come. And it's great. It's turned me into a great lover and very in tune to my lover's needs. But holy shit, throughout my entire life, I've had moments where I'm hard and then I can't get hard again because I'm in my head, instead of just surrendering to the amazing erection that I had at that present moment, because I think to myself, I need to do all these things for her. But the fact of the matter is, why can't I surrender into my own desire at that moment and be primal? Because really at that moment, she was the cause of that fucking rock hard erection that I was feeling and having, and I couldn't surrender into that. I couldn't surrender into anything. Even my path with my ex, she always would tell me I'm in my head and I need to get in my heart more. So you know what? I thank her for really starting me on this heartfelt journey of life. This heartfelt journey into surrendering. So finally, on a beautiful October day where the wind is blowing, the sun is coming down, the sun doesn't feel like it's 1,000 degrees anymore in Southern California, I get to sit with somebody really amazing and I get to surrender.
It's an honor and a privilege to support you in your surrendering.
It's the first time in my life that I've really understood how I needed to surrender as a being. God is surrendering. God is not an entity. It's a surrender every single day. And my mantra every day was to never leave life on the table. My mantra was always to say, I'm going to live my life to the fullest today. Life is a gift. But fuck that. All the books that are in my house, all the spiritual lessons that I had trouble listening to, it was, I never surrendered. I'm the New Yorker. I'm not going to surrender. I'm going to kick ass, take names. I'm going to control everything. Yet I'm teaching people how to surrender. And I never surrendered. There was always a part of me that was still holding on and holding on and holding on. And finally I realized that the key to life is surrendering. If you surrender in life, all the magic happens. All the money that you need, all the love that you need, all the sex that you need, all the spiritual guidance you need, all the parenting skills that you need is all about surrendering to the moments that present itself. And it's funny, I've always been very present. So the last year and a half I've also learned how to be super present. You know, the minute another thought crosses my mind, I like wash it away. So it's almost like meditation in action. No, stay connected to this person, stay connected to what I'm doing, stay connected to this TV show, stay connected to this book, wash away that thought. So I've learned how to, I'm a different kind of meditator. I'm a walking meditator. You know, I walk and I meditate when I walk. I walk down the beach and I see things and I look at the moon and the stars and I look at the water coming up and I watch all that stuff. So my meditation is a very different kind of practice. It's to connect to the moment, connect to the earth, connect to the little boy who's playing football today on the beach, right? That's my meditation. How present can I be for myself and all the beautiful gifts around me? But I never understood that it was all about surrendering. This whole year with dealing with lawyers and other things, it's like my friends always said, just surrender. The truth is there. It's going to come out. It always does. Just surrender to it. Don't rush the truth. Just let it come out. You've already lived the truth, so now the truth is just going to come out. So just surrender to it. Don't try to control it. And it goes back to when I was 5 years old, when I was that little boy.
So how is it showing up in your physicality, in your body? What is the experience of surrender compared with what you may have been doing before, holding, resisting, bracing?
I was bracing. How's it coming up in my physicality?
What is your experience of surrender physically when you allow yourself to drop in and really experience the physical state of surrender? How is that?
It's freeing. I don't have to think. I can just be. I paid all this money to all these massage therapists all these years. I paid all this money to all these therapists all these years. I paid all this money to all the acupuncturists. I floated in flotation tanks to fucking calm my nervous system down so I can finally surrender. And really, it was the power of my own mind and connecting from my mind to soul to heart that would allow me to surrender to what was going on in the moment. I've been able to do it in bits and pieces, but physically I was never able to do it.
So I want to just repeat something you just said. You said it was from my mind to my soul to my heart. And I noticed that sometimes people really resist this idea of allowing the intellect or the mind to be a guide because, you know, we say things like, oh, you're so in your head, you're stuck in your head, your ego's in the driver's seat, right? But for some people, that's familiar. And to start there and to allow it and surrender to the way the journey presents itself, it can also lead us to where we want to be. I mean, ultimately, what I hear you saying is you really do want to be in your heart. You really do want to be integrated. You want your intellect to be guided by your soul, by your spirit, so that you can live from your heart and know that every step you take is one that's for the highest good.
When you live through your soul and you live through your heart, you're actually in your full power. When you're in your head, you're in battling mode. When you feel, you actually connect to source. When you're in head, you're connecting to thoughts. That's why we talked about earlier was there's so many gurus that are 24, 25 years old. They're headroos. They're not gurus yet. They're headroos. They've learned the stuff. They want to adapt it. And I admire the fact that at 24, 25 years old, they want to live that lesson. And they want to live that life. So I do admire them. But I think as a man and a woman, you only step into your true self when you accept your whole journey. Look at all the lessons. Look at all the pain. Look at all the suffering. Look at all the moments of joy, moments of victories, and then you realize just you're really at your most power when you're full on fucking surrendering and accepting all your shit, all your mistakes. And you start when you surrender, you putting the pieces together. Like, oh my God, and a lot of people can think, my ex was like my mother, my father. It's like, wow, that was a lesson that I still need to learn from childhood. It's like everything, once you surrender, years of therapy, all of a sudden, gets really clear in like 5 minutes. Tens and tens of thousands of dollars of therapy just becomes really fucking clear. And all of a sudden you look at yourself and go, I get it. It's like the aha moment. So my new mantra in life is I surrender.
Bravo.
Yeah, I surrender. I surrender. And I think people need to surrender. And I need you to surrender one time for me. I need you to surrender right now. And I want you to make a promise to me that you're going to surrender. You're not going to listen to anything else today but the power of what you feel like you need to surrender into. And the first step of surrendering into it is to take this podcast and post it on your Facebook wall. And share with everybody how you learned how to surrender, because it's the key to health, wealth, happiness, and everything else is surrendering. Because people who don't surrender are victims, and victims never get what they want in life. And the fact of the matter is, victims will always attract other victims. And together you can live in villain world, because that's a really bad Disney movie, Villain World. Fuck Villain World. Villain World's like this really bad movie that I don't want to live in, because I've been people's villains before when technically we're just surrendering to each other in the present moment with no expectations and no promises of the future, which means that you create a whole different existence. So right now I want you to take this podcast and I want you to post it on your wall, and I want you to write this down. I'm not going to check on you. This isn't school. And I want you to literally write, I listened to this great podcast by this guy, David Wygant, davidwygant.com, and he showed me the power of surrendering. So I'm surrendering to you, and you need to surrender and pass this on to others. I don't ask much of you. I do this for free every single day. This is what I'm asking. Surrender in your life, surrender in this, and I will see you tomorrow. Any plugs, any websites you want people to look at?
Yes. Visit rhythmia.com. RYTHMIA.com, Rhythmia Life Advancement Center, for more opportunities to surrender and grow into the best version of yourself.
See, there's always something somebody's going to plug at the end of it, but they're going to plug things that are pretty fucking amazing for you to check out. So once again, you're going to surrender to your life. You're going to surrender and post this podcast and share it, because I don't ask you to do that often. And then you're going to go to rhythmia.com. And you're going to find out what it's all about. And then you'll be able to get in touch with Mia, because you'll be able to really learn more about where your spiritual journey needs to go. For the rest of you who don't want to share and don't want to play with us today or play the game, then you can go and literally enjoy the rest of your day. And I'll see you tomorrow on the 10-minute daily reality check that sometimes is 12, sometimes is 15, and sometimes is 9. But if we look at all the shows over the course of the year, they round up to 10. Trust me on that. I've added it up. I am a Jew, and I do know figures and money, and I do know how to round up figures, and I'm proud of my New York Jewish heritage. I love you all. See you tomorrow.